Merhabalar, bu haftaki pilot mentor oturumlarındaki bir diğer konuğumuz da Paraşüt.com'un kurucu ortaklarından Şan. Şan'a birkaç soru soracağız. Ben de merak ediyorum aslında hikayesini. Hemen sorulara geçelim. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I would like to ask you, I wonder your story. I mean, why are you here in Istanbul?
So I get that question a lot. Why
sure.
am I here? So I'm Chinese American. I lived in San Francisco. Last lived in San Francisco.
Okay.
I was working in finance in the U.S. But my real interest is in technology and economic development and how those two kind of come together.
Okay.
So when you look at economies, the way they develop, first is based on labor, then it's based on capital, as in manufacturing. So then you go through this industrial revolution, manufacturing revolution, and then at a certain point, it's based on innovation, knowledge, and technology. And if you look at kind of economic models, this is when an economy really grows exponentially. So I was really interested in that concept. And in college, I studied economics. That was kind of the area where I was really interested in. So after a number of years working in finance, I decided, okay, now it's time to do something that I was really interested in. And then I came here to work with Endeavor, which is a really awesome NGO. They're doing exactly that. It's economic development through entrepreneurship, through innovation, through technology. So it was a perfect organization for me to join. And so that was 4 years ago. And then, the rest is history.
Okay. And then Paraşüt.com.
Yeah. So, well, first, I worked at Endeavor for a year. And to be honest, I wasn't planning to stay this long. I was going to do 2 years with Endeavor and then go back to the U.S. for grad school. But then somewhere along the way, I got really inspired by everything that was going on. I was working with amazing entrepreneurs. I mean, I was working with the Positron, now monetized guys.
Yeah.
I was working with 4129. So they were just doing really, really awesome things. And I said, well, I want to be like them. So there was another startup, Groups, with Emre, yes. So he and I met through Endeavor, and then he convinced me to join Groups. So I joined Groups, had a really good time, learned a lot about startups.
Yeah.
And the Parachute idea kind of came through Groups because I was the CFO at Groups. I was managing the finances, both the Turkish side and also we had an office in San Francisco, so the American side of the operations. And in the U.S., it was very streamlined, and taxation was easy, so it was very easy to figure out on the U.S. part. But then on the Turkish part, managing all the finances was such a headache. And it wasn't because of my language barrier, but it was just really a headache to manage all of it. So many taxes to worry about, so many regulations to worry about. And there wasn't any good tools. I mean, in the U.S., there are a lot of cloud applications, software as a services applications for you to help manage your small business. And here, there were none. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if I can have this tool? But I should be, I'm in technology and I can do this now. So wouldn't it be nice if I went out and developed this tool? So that's how the idea came about. Okay,
and we know that Revo Capital has invested in Paraşüt.com. So how is it going now?
The company or
the
Revo?
Company.
So we were pretty lucky. I mean, we got investment from Revo Capital and also Ribbit Capital, which is a Silicon Valley-based firm. And both venture capital firms really believe in this idea of B2B cloud, that the business-to-business landscape is hugely unexplored in Turkey, and it is a huge sector to actually build technology in. And so it's really ready for innovation, ready for something to help the way that business is being conducted right now. So they believe in that thesis, and they invested in us. So the company itself, we're doing really, really well. We have about 2,000 companies using us right now.
Wow.
So we exited beta in May. But the thing with B2B is that also it's a huge product investment, let's say time, because the product itself is very sophisticated. It's not B2C products sometimes can be simpler, but B2B products have more specifications, more requirements, and then it's also mission critical. So we have to be working perfectly. We can't mess up people's finances. So that's why we focus so much on product development. So the first year for us is really to develop the product and make it as good as we can, to find the product market fit, as you guys do here as well. So that's our first year. Once we prove the business model, the customer acquisition strategy,
Yeah.
then the second year we'll go out, we'll raise another round by the end of this year with the two current investors and maybe another investor that we'll bring in.
Great.
And then with that, we'll try to scale the business next year.
Okay, and I would like to ask you, you lived in San Francisco, so you know the Silicon Valley culture.
Yeah.
And you know the Turkish entrepreneurship ecosystem. So
Yeah.
what are the differences between them?
Well, so when I was in college, I went to Harvard, so I was the same year as Mark Zuckerberg, which is my claim to fame, I suppose. It was really, really new. I mean, and the reason why I say that is like everyone in my year still focused on going to Wall Street to work or working for a consulting firm.
Yeah.
And I really think he was kind of the role model for the next generation of entrepreneurs. So I was living in San Francisco from 2008 to 2010. And I would say even back then, I mean, there were obviously a lot of tech companies, but it wasn't the boom that it is now, that you're seeing in San Francisco now. So I mean, the difference, I don't know what would be the difference actually. I mean, the enthusiasm that I see from people here is what makes a great entrepreneur, and it's the same enthusiasm you see in San Francisco. I think the biggest difference is probably the ecosystem and infrastructure, and this is where accelerators like PİLOTT really come in, because when I came to Istanbul 4 years ago, there was basically nothing, and now there's a lot of infrastructure, a lot of players in the ecosystem supporting entrepreneurs. So that needs to be built out layer by layer, time by time. So that's probably the biggest difference. Not anything with people at all.
About culture or?
I mean, there's all these stereotypes, right? That Turks are quick to action, they're hot-headed, so maybe they don't plan well, things like that. But I don't know how true that is, so I won't comment on that.
Okay. And my last question will be about PİLOTT.
Yeah.
You listen some of our teams, and we'll listen the rest of them. So what do you think about PİLOTT and our startups?
Yeah, the teams are really great. I mean, and I have a friend who's going through this process right now, actually, and I noticed there's a huge difference in the way that he was thinking about the business and in the way he's presenting it now. So I can see kind of the positive effects that PİLOTT has brought, and I really believe in accelerators like this. I mean, the way I think about the Turkish ecosystem is you have a lot of people with a lot of enthusiasm, but in terms of, let's say, the capital or the know-how, it's just being built. So then you need a number of accelerators which then help these small startups, help these entrepreneurs kind of go past idealization stage, and then bring them to enough of a level where then venture capitals or seed investors can invest in them. And then those people then will bring them to another level. So there are certain gaps right now in the Turkish ecosystem, and I think PİLOTT's one of the pivotal players that could be filling that gap. And then the next gap is maybe after Series A, Series B, there's no big investors there, but that's another problem.
Sean, thank you so much.
Thank you
for your time.
Thank you.
And,
Take care.
tekrar görüşmek üzere, hoşça kalın.